guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're actually using David Mechura's green screen equipment here. He's gonna be my second interview, or whenever I decide to put this up. And you know, my biggest thing is that on this channel, of course, we're trying to do personal, professional development, things like that. I want to get as many people as I can onto the channel, you know, young entrepreneurs, young business professionals, so career professionals, even you don't even have to be just a business owner, things like that. You know, no matter what type of hustle you're doing, no matter what type of grind you're trying to get through every day, every single day, as long as it's legal and ethical, we're trying to get you on here, get you interviewed, show people what it takes to succeed in the ways that these people have succeeded thus far. And of course, this is a learning process. The people we have on here don't know everything. I know David doesn't always know everything, but we're still trying to bring you quality content of what we've learned so far. Again, it's to save you guys time, save us time, get some content going out there. So once again, David, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to do this. And for inviting me to use some of your green screen equipment. You know, this is obviously something I really want to invest in. Unfortunately, my apartment I think would be a little too small, but we'll see what we can do. You know, we got some lighting and stuff going on here, so I'm really excited to hopefully do some good editing with this video. Let me rephrase that. I'm really excited to do a little bit of work with this video and, you know, make it the best it could possibly be on this channel, you know, once again. So with that being said, you know, you can listen to this in podcast form. You know, this is something I didn't get a chance to say in my previous interview, but you don't have to watch this whole thing, but I will have some graphics on the screen here. I will have some stuff up here. So if you do want to watch it through, of course, you'll be kind of rewarded for that. So with that being said, David, you know, once again, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I talked a lot, but
yeah, he just kept going on.
Yeah. Let me just say, I've known David for a long time, and I knew he had to be one of my first interviews. So he actually has a YouTube channel too. We're gonna link it up on screen here, so you know, check that out. Check out his channel. Excellent content, you know, in areas and places that I don't necessarily have much knowledge in. So. You know, at the end of the day, the more people you can learn from, the more people you can subscribe to. You know, I follow a lot of inspirational entrepreneurs and people. You know, it proves to be a huge benefit. So, you know, once again, follow this man on all the social medias. I'll link all that on screen and in the description as well. Biggest thing, David, tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, I know a lot about you, but tell the audience a little bit about yourself, kind of what you do, what your goals are, kind of what you're hustling at today.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Mohit, once again for having me here.
No problem.
In my own house. Using my equipment, but we could keep this in. But first of all, let me just say, I've never seen a man take 10 minutes to explain this video to anyone, so I'm not used to this. I've known Mohit since high school, as we talked about zombies and apocalypses, so that was a great way to network. But hey, I mean, it was still...
No, I don't recommend going up to a career professional talking about zombies and apocalypses, but
you never know. You know, always... Doesn't matter what kind of conversation you have, you never know where it's going to lead, so that's the most important part. But I guess, sorry, before I go rambling on, just like Mohit did in the intro, I'm going to throw some roast here.
Hey man, listen. You got to get everything out there. You know, I'm new at this.
All right. We're keeping that one in there. So anyways, yeah, so my name is David, guys. Currently a senior at DePaul University, finishing up a degree in business administration, with a plan to go into the sales industry and you know, become one of the best people out there, so then I could go ahead and train and help others become great salespeople as well. On top of that, as Mohit already mentioned, as we're doing this, I do have a YouTube channel. It's just David Mechura, link somewhere in the description, on the screen, wherever Mohit does. On top of just, like, you know, doing some couple other things, just try and increase my income, try, you know, work on some stuff, and just, you know, constantly learning every single day on how to grow a business, reading books, listening to audio. So things like this, these interviews, podcasts, tips and tricks are just really, really great as a way to keep your mind set in the right positive mindset, especially with like life and a lot of stuff you go through your day. You get a lot of negativity, a lot of negative people. And so, you know, it's really important to make sure that you stay positive, you stay true to yourself, and you're in that environment with other winners and other people that want to go ahead and succeed. But with that, Mohit, take it off with, I know you have a couple of questions.
Sure, yeah. No, I think that was an excellent intro. You know, first off, obviously, like, you know, knowing David for such a long time, like since like high school, you know, obviously there's things that we kind of overlook ourselves. But, you know, that's why we think this video helps, not only for you guys, but with us. So, we, you know, just to know a little bit more about exactly what our mindsets are, what we're doing, get that clarified once again, because it's easy to lose that. Yeah, I know you talked a little bit about expanding your income, you know, increasing your income level. Could you talk a little bit about, and tell the audience who may not be familiar with the concepts of financial freedom, kind of how you got involved in that mindset? I know you've kind of been in the game longer than I have, so.
Yeah, sort of just came to me at first. It was more of a kind of a dream, as I was going through high school. My biggest thing was, what am I going to do for work? What am I going to do for life? I went from, wanting to be a vet to taking care of, dogs. Never really wanted to do a doctor or even then vet because it was a lot of education and I just didn't want to go to school for like 17 billion years.
Oh, yeah.
Then I wanted to be a policeman, so I was like, okay, that's fine. Ended up, I was like, what about business? It just like never occurred to me, but I was like, business accounting, that could be fun. I saw a catalog with all the different classes that Fenton, the high school we went to, offered, so I decided to try that out. And honestly, it was great. I started liking that, the numbers and just like money in general. I mean, I was always, wouldn't say materialistic, but I always had that sort of like, man, I want everything big. Not to show off, but just because I want to go into the store, I want to go anywhere in life. I'm going to buy that, and that just because I can. There's no hindrance on me. Even buy my own island or even America at some point. Just kidding. But I think when it really changed, when that mindset really clicked, was when I read my first real business book, which was Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Highly recommended for anyone that hasn't read that book. I know me and Mohit have talked about it a couple times already.
Yeah, I will say, that's the book that got me into this whole path of financial freedom. Like, that's what started me out too.
We got it back.
Yeah, so I remember you talking a lot about that book. I refused to read it for the longest time. I thought it was a scam. I still have friends that think that this whole idea of financial freedom is a scam. And, think of it what you will, but I mean, the moment I read it and the moment I kind of got on this path, started reading other things, attending things, meeting people, like, I just feel like my life's improved tremendously. Obviously, I'm doing this YouTube channel now, trying to bring back some value to countless people out there, as much as possible. So I think that what you said is incredibly valuable. Obviously, the whole aspect of materialism, I'm glad you brought that up. I think that, I don't know if I've already expressed this, I'm not sure, but the biggest thing is that, a lot of people think that having too much money is bad or having items you don't need is bad, but yet so many people still do it. So it's kind of a hypocritical notion that we as a society have, and that's why I'm so glad you brought that up. I think that's an excellent discussion point, and just in terms of when you go into a store, you see a new iPhone or something like that, you don't need an iPhone, you don't need a smartphone, but everybody has a smartphone. So at some point things become socially accepted to have. I remember the time when we were growing up when having a smartphone or something like that was it was too much. It was considered bad, and even
no iPhones.
Why would you spend $1,000 on a phone? Now most phones cost close to $1,000 now. So it's just that whole aspect of materialism I think is incredibly important. I think that there's nothing wrong with wanting what's out there. I myself, I buy stupid things, and it's curbed down a lot recently, but a lot of people say money and material things won't make you happy, but I would disagree. I definitely think that it does. So what is your stance on that? Like, if we go delve a little bit deeper into that topic.
Yeah. One thing I see it, we're all materialistic. I mean, that's just us as a society and as we've grown up. And it doesn't matter if you're poor, if you're middle class, if you're rich, if you're white, you're black, Mexican. It doesn't matter what race, what nationality. You want things. You go to the store, you like what you see. The only difference between the poor and the rich at that point is the poor will buy it on credit and not be able to afford the car or the phone.
Right.
But the rich guy will go in there, have a business, have an asset that's making him income, look at the car, be like, yeah, sure, I just want have it for a little bit, and they'll go move on to another car. But I mean, it's all the same. So I believe this materialistic, this terminology and this idea that everything, you're materialistic, you want all these huge things. Yeah, I do, because I think it's cool. And, I don't care what you think. I want a damn plane because I want a damn plane. I want to fly, right? This idea that this poor man's mentality and mindset of making excuses like, you're materialistic, man. You can't buy that plane, or why are you trying to buy all this stuff, But then he goes out and buys a $1,500 iPhone XS Max, and he doesn't even care about that. But he can't afford it because he's only making like $9 an hour, and taxes take half of that, so he's only making like $4 an hour. And he's going to talk to me about being materialistic. Man, look, my mindset on this is, if I want to go, I want to have that freedom. I don't want to have this stress and this idea that, I can't buy this phone or I can't buy this plane because I don't have money. No, it should be, how can I buy this plane and how can I write it off on taxes so I don't pay Uncle Sam any more of my money? That's how I look at it, right? And so this I don't understand this mentality that there is about, why do you want all these items? Why do you want all this like big houses, all this stuff? Like, yeah, some people like to show off. Some people want it for that. Man, I'll probably show off some of it too. I mean, it's a nice car, Lambo driving down the street, but it's just because I feel like that's like my dream, to have these accomplishments, have these things, and just experience it. When can you ever experience flying in your own private jet unless you have the money to do that? So
one thing I would like to say, and I think that's important to note, is that of course, like, there's nothing wrong with buying whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you are creating value for people, as long as you're giving back. So if you're just showing something off for the sake of showing something off, like, of course that just makes you an asshole, and you're not doing anything with your wealth. You're just kind of like, being incredibly selfish. No, and David, I know you're not like that. I know like that's a huge, I mean, that's something, of course, we still have to think about, is how do we bring value back to people. I ultimately believe that we as a society, like, every single person needs to be doing something to like push this world forwards. You know what I mean? We don't have lights, we don't have computers, we don't have phones, just because some guy decided to buy a fucking bag of chips and sit in his basement all day. People have to do things for other people. That's how we improve. As long as you're bringing value back to people, it's okay to get what you want, to be materialistic. There's nothing wrong with materialism. I feel like so many people are saying, hey man, like, I'm trying to have more emphasis on experiences rather than materialism. I've heard so many people say that, and that's great. Experiences are experiences, and you definitely should pursue them as well. However, materialism, those are experiences in themselves. To live an opulent lifestyle, to have this green screen, like, it makes life easier. Like, just like your phone, what you're watching this on, whatever it is, makes life easier. So there's always a balance.
Yeah. One thing for that too, as you're talking about, how the rich people and how like just people gave that value back, brought in electricity, iPhones. Think about if we all were doing what most of the people, watching, even us sometimes do, or mostly do, is like, we watch TV, or we just had a long day at work. We don't want to do any extra work. Well, imagine if every single person on this planet did that. We wouldn't have technology. We wouldn't be where we are today. Apple wouldn't exist because someone
work
wouldn't have
doesn't
taken
get
that
done
risk.
in 40 hours. That's not how it works. Work does not get done.
So take risks, do things you want. Bring value to people, because even the standard of living, just because one guy or one girl can actually change the way even the lowest of lowest class lives. I mean, look at it now. Everyone has an iPhone. If you're making $2 an hour, if you're making $1 million an hour, you're still getting an iPhone, and you're carrying around an iPhone. I don't know how people can afford it, something like that, but they still have an iPhone, right? And it all happened because one guy, Steve Jobs, decided to create Apple, decided to go ahead and create.
Now, the one difference is that, of course, everybody probably knows that Steve Jobs was an asshole. Everybody that's worked with him or under him know this. So, of course, there's always a line. You got to be a good human no matter what. And I'm sure you believe the same thing. Of course, there's always a line.
I'm going to jump in there right now as you get your thoughts really quick. But I like Steve Jobs, a lot of people talk about him being an asshole. But even though then, the one thing I will disagree a little bit on is there's not a fact, you can't deny the fact that he was a good manager. He was a good leader. He was a good entrepreneur where he had an idea and he was able to bring that idea to his team. I mean, the stories, he was hard as people and he would fire people right quick in there. But I mean, some of the stories, some of the things he did, like, it's crazy. When they first came out with the iPod, it was about this thick, and the engineers came up to Steve Jobs, were like, hey, this is like the best we can do. We can't make it smaller. Sure. He's like, make it smaller. And they're like, we can't. There's literally no more room in the iPod. So what he did, he actually took that iPod, went to the fish tank and dropped it in there. And he saw the little bubbles coming out, which just meant that there's air in there. He looked at the guy. He looked at the engineers. He was like, you see those bubbles? That means there's air in there. That means you can make it a lot smaller. And that is why the iPad didn't start off like this huge, but it was a lot slimmer. That's why your iPhones are slim. That's why everything that Apple makes is of that quality, and there's detail in that thing. But that's, was he an asshole for throwing it in the fish tank? Yeah.
Sorry to cut everybody off there, but we have
issues, technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties, a little coffee spill, nothing to worry about. But on that note, we're going to transition over to another topic. You know, as much as I love talking about Steve Jobs, and we could probably record a whole separate video on this at some point.
We should.
Because I think that case studies, I want to start doing them. Of course, there's a playlist on here that's completely empty, but case studies is something I'd love to do in the near future. Anyway, before I ramble on and on, the one thing, obviously you have a Sprint shirt on. You work for Sprint. You do retail with them, from what I understand. And then, of course, you've had experiences in the past. But I'll just let you talk about it. Could you talk a little bit about your work experiences that you've had through high school and up until now, kind of how that's shaped your mindset?
Yeah. So in high school, I didn't really have a full job or anything like that, an official job. I was doing sort of like part-time cutting grass. I did a little bit of like construction restaurant, helped build a restaurant, paint, all that stuff for a while. Then, my first job was actually working for Krispy Kreme, so that's where the stomach came in a little bit more. But I worked there for about a year and a half. I started off in retail, worked, and after a year, I decided to go into a full-time position as a productionist. So I was making donuts. I was, running glaze, mixing all the different things that we needed to do.
They were good donuts.
They are really good donuts, especially when I made them. But during that time, after that year and a half, I was already in the point where I was helping management. I knew exactly everything. I was basically a supervisor without the title or the money. And so that's when I started really feeling like, man, this sucks. Like, I'm working here. I'm working over 40 hours, waking up at like 2 in the morning to work, so I can go to school full time during that time as well. And it's a lot of stress. And I mean, it was worth it for the half a year because I didn't make a lot of money or decent amount of money. But even after all that, I mean, I have no control over what happens. It's so hard to move up into a different spot just because of my timing and other things going on in my life with school and all that stuff. So that was really the start. It was like, man, during that time, like, I think it was after that 1 year, I started looking for like seminars and stuff like that. So I saw like Robert Kiyosaki had a seminar in real estate. So I took that. It was like a free like little course. I think you actually attended one as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I started going to the seminar, started learning a little bit more, getting into that entrepreneur spirit, reading more books. From there, I actually transferred over to DePaul from community college and I started working for the telephone a little bit, just like Mohit, except that I quit that a lot faster and Mohit's still there. But just because of timing-wise, it was a great experience, though. I really highly wish I had the time to go ahead and do that, just because it was a great learning experience. It's something that cold calling is something a lot of people fear, and it's something that is really huge talent. And if you know how to do that, I mean, you're invincible.
Right. So how did you end up with Sprint?
So I ended up quitting DePaul, the telefund, not the school. Got to clarify that, but I went ahead, I did some odd jobs here and there, and then actually ended up applying to different places, and Sprint sort of came up. So I was like, I'll take a look at it. It was sales, so that's something I really wanted to try doing, commission-based and hourly. So I was like, okay, cool. So we started doing Sprint. It's a new kind of like it's Sprint Express at Walgreens. So we're inside of a Walgreens with a little kiosk. So there's a new kind of concept that they're doing. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things changing. So it's a great program. It's really something that they've been pushing and liking, but it's also very quickly to change, and a lot of things quickly changing over time. So that's how I ended up for Sprint. I've been there for over 3 months now.
It's awesome. Direct competitors here. Direct competitors. Y'all have T-Mobile now, so.
Yeah, me and T-Mobile and Sprint are merging, hopefully.
Obviously, you have a wide variety of experiences, got you here. How would you recommend that everybody, if you say you're a high schooler that doesn't have a job yet, like my little brother, he's actually off camera right now.
Hello, AJ.
Ajay.
Hi.
Come here. Come in the camera.
There we go.
So he's an example of what I mean. Like, there are people out there that don't have jobs yet. If you're this guy right here, if you're this man, then okay, you can go. Sorry. All right. So anyway,
just know you're gonna be famous now.
If say people like AJ don't have a job yet, would you recommend that they start out in something like specifically fast food, retail, things like that? Not necessarily at the level of selling like in Sprint yet, but
I honestly would. I think every single person on this planet should work retail. just my personal experience, because you learn how to not only deal with people through customer service and realize that there's so many people that have an attitude or just are super mean to you, and you got to figure out ways to keep smiling, be happy, right? So it's an amazing experience, and I mean that's something you can't take away from me working that year and a half just at Krispy Kreme. I mean, I could deal with almost every single situation that ever came up. People came up to me for those like, hey, how do I deal with this guy? I got you, right? But I also, just being able to sort of deal with that customer service, know how to handle people, talk to customers, is a great way for you then to get, into that mindset of helping it and being that customer service to then lead you into like a sales position, stuff like that. But I think just the experience of experiencing first off like the low labor kind of work that you gotta do, and then also like just basically like working all these crazy hours, seeing how like this could be your life if you don't move on, seeing like how older people are still stuck in this retail environment, and really thinking about, hey, is this really something that I want to do for the next 60 years?
Sure.
Because that, unless you get a job, go to college, do whatever you want, this might be one of your paths. So highly recommend you start off with this, especially when you're young. I mean, you got 50, 60 years ahead of you. So if you spend a year gaining those skill set of that customer service and being able to handle people, I mean, you're golden. You deal with those customers, you see how you react, and then it just changes you because you know how to react to when you're being helped, and when you have a server or someone that messes up, you know exactly how that feels. You know exactly how respond to that. Be like, hey, it's fine. I've worked in retail too. Like, I know exactly where you're coming from. Like, it's all good.
Yeah, I think that's important. Especially in terms of if you don't get your people skills right early in life, like you're gonna have a really hard time later. For me, I was fortunate enough to have found that fundraising job, which of course led me into sales, this early on. But I was definitely one of the later ones to achieve kind of that level of like people expertise, just calling expertise, sales expertise, things like that. You got to be able to market yourself, market product, service. You got to be able to have that conversation, whether professional, social, personal, whatever. And if you're struggling with that, I believe it's a learned skill because I learned it. So I was awkward as shit in high school, as you probably remember. Still kind of am, but it gets better with time. So I think that's incredibly valuable. This brings me back to, since we are doing this for YouTube, obviously you have your channel once again and put it up on the screen. Could you talk a little bit about kind of why you started it? I know you already talked a little bit about why you kind of got into business, why you kind of got down this path to financial freedom, but could you talk a little bit about why exactly you started your YouTube channel, what your goals are for it?
Yeah, no problem. So if you actually click on that link right now, you can check out my channel and then get about me, and there's a trailer. But just kidding. So I guess now we're keeping this. So the reason why I started my channel, I mean, it was an on and off experience. I've had some videos back in the day, and I did some vlogs for a while. But as I was sort of just going through, saw that you're doing your YouTube as well. I was like, what, let's try to bring value back. Let's try to simplify that process of all the time it takes for you to have to educate and learn and read books, watch audio, or watch videos, listen to podcasts, go to seminars. Let me simplify that process. Let me do that for you guys and bring that value to you guys through my videos and through my content. Basically, like what you're doing, right? Using what I experienced and giving those tips and tricks and giving that experience and what I think about it. Helping others as well, and just sort of having a community behind that. So my channel is just, I want to help as many people as possible with just the simple, basic things that, how to set goals, how to budget, how to finance, how to do all this stuff, how to, look at student loans and understand how they work. Because these are such simple topics and things, but the school system doesn't teach you that. And so in summary, I guess just I'm trying to bridge that gap between what you actually need in the real world and what the school system fails and lacks to teach you, and really show you that that information that isn't just for entrepreneurs. It's not just for people that want to be rich or financially free, but it's for everyone, just to have that sort of different mindset, just to have that information that they're lacking, that they're eventually going to have to learn at some point anyways. So why not help you save some money, save some time, just by watching one or two of the videos that you need help on.
So, this actually brings up an interesting point, to my own channel as well. A lot of people have brought up, and, I know when initially before I launched mine, you launched yours, I talked a little bit about that with yours. What would you have to respond to people that are saying, hey, of course we don't know everything. You have your business. I still have yet to open my first business. That is a huge goal for this next year. But, to be talking a little bit about, organizational tips, budgeting, things like that, those small things and a lot of people will often bash us, say, hey, you guys don't know everything. Why are you taking time to talk about this? Or people will say, okay, you think that you're better than this person because you're talking about this. I know our goals are to bring value back to the community. That's the whole aspect of it from what we've learned so far. So what do you have to say? That's what I say, but what do you have to say about that, to comments like that from people that are often thinking that, we're not qualified to be talking about certain topics?
Honestly and truly, and we've talked about this before, I don't care. I'll explain. I'll talk about a little bit, but honestly, I don't care what you say. I'm making content because I want to. I bring value because I want to, and the people that see that value, that understand what I'm bringing that value worth, are gonna watch my videos. The ones that are already complaining about how does this involve you? You don't know everything. Yeah, you're right. And that's why I'm not going to talk about how to run a multi-billion-dollar company, because I don't have any experience in that. I might, if I read a book talking about that, then I'll talk about what that book does.
Talk about the book, right? Exactly.
But I won't just take knowledge and information and just spew things that I don't know if it's true or not because I haven't done it, right? So I just create this value. I create content because I want to. It helps me. It helps me grow myself as well. And honestly, look, if you're just, the people that are going to tell you, oh, you don't know this, or why you're making this is a waste of time, are the same people that aren't going to watch anyone else's video too. That dude could be a multimillionaire, and they're going to have another excuse talking about he's a multimillionaire. He doesn't even understand where I'm at right now. So there's always going to be excuse. There's always excuses, and there's people always make something up for a reason why not to watch a video or for all this stuff. But that's why I make this content. Is also just to have that being around, having someone that's positive, having a positive mentality, because there's a lot of negativity in the world. There's a lot of people that want to put you down.
Definitely.
They don't even want to put you down. They might be friends and family, but they just care about you. They want, they want to see you wasting your time, but they don't see the whole entire end goal. They don't see your actual dream and vision from this channel or for any business that you have, right? And you can't really blame them because some of them just might not have that mindset, and some of them just don't understand the whole entire vision. I mean, if I told you half the things that I want to do with my life, people, and we might talk about this later as well, but people will just be like, dude, you're the craziest mother, on this planet.
You could swear.
You're the craziest. You're the craziest motherfucker on this planet. And I'll be like, you know what?
I'm not gonna beep you out. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I don't care. I want that jet. I'll buy a damn island. I don't fucking care. And that's the mentality that you really need to bring forward is I don't care what you think. I make content. You know about me. You've seen my videos, or you know about me because you're bashing me, and that's great. Because I still impacted you in some way, positive or negative.
Sure.
You still know what I'm doing. And that's all I care about is impacting people. And if you like me or don't like me, I don't care, because in the end of the day, there's only 1%, the top 1% have all the money, and there's a reason why only top 1%
actually pays attention to the content that's out there. You sound a lot like Gary Vee right now, and I appreciate that. I try to remember that, because I know you're at the point where you're definitely kind of you don't care. You're definitely deflecting all those comments. I'm still having trouble dealing with that, so I think that this is value you're bringing to me right on screen here. So something that I need to keep in mind. One thing that, and I know we're running time here just because we are limited on storage space with the technology that we have access to at the moment. For right now, we got 20-hour videos coming soon, guys. Don't worry. The biggest thing is obviously it's very hard to stay motivated in this grind. I've seen this multiple times, and I would think of myself as a pretty hard worker. I still have room to improve, of course, but how do you stay motivated through all this hard work? In turn, what tips what do you do to kind of relax? What do you do to kind of how do you schedule those times to kind of have fun, or to do something you love, or just to have some peace of mind when you go about your daily tasks, reading, business, all this stuff. So
I mean, it's all about, first off, building habits. That's biggest tip I can give you is if there's anything else that you don't like, if this is the only thing you learn from this podcast, is build good habits. Habits take about 20 days before they start becoming a little bit automatic. About 31 days in, or about a month in, is when you get that habit to start becoming a natural thing that you don't even think about, right?
Sure.
So that just means, if you think about it, if you break it down really quickly, right? Every month you're learning a new habit. There's 12 months in a year. So in 1 year, you can learn 12 new...
It was 13.
13 new habits, just kidding. You can learn 12 new habits, that will help you in a different way. So if you just focus on that every single month, what am I going to learn this habit? What habit am I going to do, or what habit am I going to change, to make me better? Let's say you party every single night. Okay, great. Well, how can I change that? Like, let's say, break it down. Like, I'll party every other day, and then every 3 days, every 4 days. Break it down.
You don't want to be too unrealistic and go from, okay, if you're a huge partier, like say Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, you don't sleep in, you don't get any sleep, you're partying 3 a.m., then going to work at 8 a.m. If you're someone like that, you want to take it gradually, from what I understand. Because I know some people, they can stop right away and they have the motivation, but if you know that you might have a little trouble there, then like that's a great idea. Do it gradually. Like take Sunday off at first, then take Saturday off, then eventually one night of partying a week.
Yeah.
You'll get there. That's awesome.
Break it down. But going back to the initial question about how to stay motivated too, I read every single day. If it's just 15 minutes, I read something that's like a positivity mindset or business kind of book, or anything that I want to improve on. So like right now I'm focusing a lot on communication. So a lot of communication books. Like How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. Highly recommend that book. Amazing book. And a bunch of other ones, just how to have conversations, how to keep conversations, because conversations are important in today's society. But that, and just listening to audios every single day, have a podcast. If I'm in the car, especially if you're commuting to work, school, you have that time to listen to a podcast. Why are you going to listen to the radio that's only going to spew just the same song over and over again, right?
Sure.
So learn something new. And then, I'm not saying that I'm always motivated or always have time, always like feel like doing something, right? But schedule your stuff in, make a schedule, plan your day by day, and don't let your work be your excuse for why you don't want to do something, right? Oh, I'm tired, right? Great, but you're gonna be tired for the rest of your life if you just gotta keep that mentality, because you're gonna be working that 40 hours a week. And especially for entrepreneurs, like, we want this financial freedom, but it's also, hey, look, it's going to require 100 hours a week. It's going to require a huge commitment at some point, right? But
time away from your Monday afternoons to record a video.
Exactly.
We should be setting up for a grill.
But I mean, it eventually becomes a habit, and you love doing it. It shouldn't be a job. If it's a job, quit right now. It should be something that you love to do, because you know the value that you're bringing back, right? I mean, there's some parts of YouTube I hate, like editing. But I mean, I still do YouTube just because it's something that I know the next video could bring content, can teach someone, at least one person, something new. So just think about the end goal. Find your why. One last point I will say is find your why.
Sure.
Because without a strong why, you're not going to do anything, right? And we see this over and over again. If people, especially let's say you're paying rent and you don't have enough money at the end of the month to pay your rent, people, like, they'll find crazy ways to make extra money, because there's a why. It's either I get the money, or I'm homeless with my kids.
Sure.
Right? So if your why is strong enough, you will basically be able to do whatever and anything you have to go ahead and achieve your goals.
As long as it's ethical and legal.
Yeah,
I want to put that in there.
Obviously, but just find a strong why. Read, be in positivity. Find a group, find people that are positive. Because there's so much negativity that you want to be positive. You want to be around positive people. If that involves just reading, being in audios, watching a motivational video on YouTube once in a while, stuff like that, it's going to keep you positive, especially when you had a really bad day and everyone's like all negative and all sad and crying, and you're just like, dude, come on. Like,
sure.
What is this, right? And I always just just smile and be happy. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life or someone else's life, just be happy, and that positivity changes your own mindset.
Excellent point, David. Of course, or points I should say. That was pretty lengthy, but I think that was very appreciated. A lot of people will be appreciative of that. I think just because we're under time constraints, it may seem like a lot, but I think ultimately, like, this is value that, people, the whole positivity aspect is incredibly important. I have to say, like, the moment I started surrounding myself with positive people, kind of getting rid of the people that are constantly complaining, or at least not spending as much time with them, it really does make a huge impact on my own mindset. And you definitely see that shift, because whenever you say spend time with that person again, the negative people, you start to feel negative. So you can definitely see that, I'm sure, in your own life, and I'm glad that you brought that up. So one last thing before we kind of wrap it up here, of course. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about something called Mech Nation. I myself actually don't know too much about it, so this is kind of news to me.
Top secret.
Did you want to take a couple minutes just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah,
You're on camera
we
here.
definitely can.
Do a little bit of advertising, whatever it is.
Yeah, why not? So by the time this video probably is posted, I'm going to have videos on YouTube and all this other stuff explaining a little bit more. But basically the idea of the Mech Nation, because Mech Nation was taken, there's a link, there'll be links to different websites and things like that. But the overall goal of the Mech Nation, the idea that came through it is just like watching other people. I'm just like, you know what? Like, what's the overall goal? Like, what do I want to achieve? Because I have this YouTube channel, right? But I'm just one single person, and there's really no way for me to be able to reach every single person on this planet, right? So I created the Mech Nation with the idea of we're going to help and impact all 7.5 billion people that are on this planet right now. Obviously that's going to grow at some point, so man, I don't care. It'll be 10 billion people will hit that goal too. But the idea is we want to help impact people by creating a team, by creating a network, right? So we have a Facebook page and Facebook group page and all that stuff. We have our website, stuff like that currently I'm running right now by myself. But the whole point of the Mech Nation is not just it's not my network, it's not just me. That's my YouTube channel right there. The Mech Nation is a way for me to find talented people to come in, create that network where I want others to create their own YouTube channels, others to create their own businesses, and then be able to get that help. Or help, hey guys, like, look, I just started my YouTube channel, like, go check me out. And have, like, like all the people on that channel, on the page, just go ahead and subscribe to them, start watching the videos, giving them encouragement. So I want to help simplify that process and have these like-minded people, these positive people being in this group.
Kind of like a community.
Exactly.
Not so much mentorship, but more of like helping each other. So it's like, like ideally thousands of mentors in the same place. It's just people helping each other. Kind of like a Facebook for like entrepreneurs in a sense, or just high business people who want to reach kind of high goals. Makes a lot more sense.
It's a great way for, even if you have a business idea and you want to find a business partner, why not go to this place where the people are there interacting with each other and actually dedicated? Because, I mean, look, we can all say we're entrepreneurs, all that stuff, but we won't click the damn link in the bottom of the page right now to go to the Mech Nation and check it out. It only takes 5 seconds, So it's people that are dedicated.
You're not an entrepreneur until you join the Mech Nation. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, there we go. Hopefully Mohit could be actually he is. He's already following my page, but that's top secret. Or liked or whatever, I know, but he's top secret. But anyways, before I start rambling on too long, the point was just like have that support behind you. Like I'm not a leader. I'm not a huge business person, anything like that. So my goal is to find people that are way better than me. I mean, I want them to be 10 times, 100 times better than who I am, right? Because that's just going to motivate me to go to their level and step up my game so I can get to their level, right? I want their knowledge. I want their mindset. So it's not a community that I control. Yeah, I'm like the admin, whatever, but like, that's it. Like everyone, they're free to do whatever they want to do in that channel. I just want to bring and simplify those people so then we can go out and get more people to come into that channel. Like my goal is actually to break Facebook and have like 7 billion people on that group page. So Facebook is freaking out. I mean, am I optimistic?
Zuckerberg, David Mechura is coming for you.
I'm gonna help your business grow, my man. You have about like 1-2 billion people on Facebook right now. Man, I'm gonna grow that by 3 times?
Yeah.
Watch out, man. We're getting some coffee later when you see this video.
Awesome.
But,
so okay. On that note, I'm
rambling
sorry. I know you're good. I I know if this was something I was about to launch, I'd be incredibly excited for it. But once again, we are kind of running short on time here. I had a lot of questions.
Check out my website.
Yeah,
check out
we'll
the
put it up
page.
again.
It's on my YouTube channel as well. There's gonna be links everywhere. So.
Once again, I appreciate you talking about this. Again, this is news to me because I had no idea what the hell the Mech Nation was like when you were talking about it.
Check me out on LinkedIn.
So like
as well.
this is once again, I think this is incredibly valuable. I'll be in it for sure. I think that everybody should. I think that we have Facebook, we have Twitter, and those are excellent places to interact. But where can you go for like dedicated help? You go on LinkedIn and you have all these fuckers, no offense, that are just like, they aren't truly career professionals. A lot of people on LinkedIn, they're just on there because everybody has a LinkedIn. There's a reason a lot of people don't even have profile pictures on there. There's people just make it for the sake of making it. I've had teachers, for example, that have never updated their LinkedIn ever. I don't care what profession you are, but I see LinkedIn as an incredible source of value, but it's going down every year because so many people think that it's so important, and then they don't really take the time to improve their own lives along with their LinkedIn profile. So I think that's incredibly important. There's a lot of questions here. Unfortunately, we won't get to during this interview, of course.
Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, and Part 5.
But I kind of just wanted to leave it on just one kind of hopeful note. This is kind of how I want to end all my interviews, and I did this with Josh earlier. For those of you who haven't already watched, if you haven't already, it's going to be on screen here. Check it out. Where he talks a little bit about the people mindset. Josh Cohen, the MBA founder. So that's an incredible service. Definitely check that out. But could you talk, just to wrap things up here once again, what are your kind of words of advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, not only entrepreneurs, but just career professionals, for those who don't want to have a business at this point in time, just to kind of get ahead in their own lives and kind of create a future for themselves? What are some pieces of some last minute advice that you have for everybody? Again, keep it brief, Dave.
No, I will. I'll keep it in 5 words. I don't know. Pick up a fucking book and read. How much was that?
7 words with "and read," but pick up a fucking book was fine. That was
there
good.
We go.
That was good.
Hey,
wait. Say it again.
Pick up a fucking book. I don't know what he's doing right now, but
You'll see it in editing.
But look, the statistics show that on average, people read about 1 book a year, and that's they might have a book, but they might not even read the whole book. There's like a 98% chance the person doesn't get past page 2.
Yeah, no, right? I knew a guy in this internship I just went to. He had a book in his room. Internship was 10 weeks. Hasn't read a single page of that book, from what I understand. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, people don't read. But then we look at CEOs. They read 52. They read a book a week. That's 52 books in a year. Do you really think that there's any competition between the average person and a CEO when this dude's reading 50 books that has literally hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years of knowledge from someone that just spewed out that information into the book? You can, if you want to accelerate. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business person. I'm going to wrap it up with this. It doesn't matter what kind of area you're in. There's a book for you. And if you just read some books, it doesn't even have to be in your area, but the knowledge you get, the mindset from these people, it's just going to blow up your whole entire career, your whole entire business. It doesn't matter what you do. It's going to blow it up because there's so much knowledge that you can gain from that one damn book that you can't gain from anything else. There's hundreds of years, they do spend 50 years doing this. Why not take his advice and read the book in 1 week and basically take his 50 years of experience and, man, you're 50 years older in just 1 week.
This is a really good way to look at it. That's awesome, David. Once again, I think that's advice that, I wish I had in high school. I would have loved to get a start on when I had a lot more time on just reading and things like that, but I know that's not an excuse because, like you said, you got CEOs, you got business people reading 1 book a week, and it's insane. A whole video could definitely be made on that. I think it's an incredible topic to talk about. But yeah, like you said, pick up a book. Like I said, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's when I found out I could actually read. When I picked that up, it changed my life, and for the better. I've underwent a major change, and that doesn't really mean much, but it's really the choices I've made, the people I've kind of been around, the experiences that I've worked to get so far, and the things that I've learned. I think have been incredible, and it's all thanks to, once again, David introducing me to to Rich Dad Poor Dad. So, once again, check him out. Check out the Mech Nation once he finally has that up.
Check that out.
Check out his YouTube channel. Check out his socials. This is someone that you definitely want to follow, besides me, of course. But you definitely want to follow this man because I think
follow me before you follow him.
I would hope that you're following me already.
Follow both of us.
His energy is contagious. I always like to say, and a lot of people. I just came off of my internship with AT&T. A lot of people, it's a huge motto that goes around the office. Is like energy is contagious. So like the more you have, the better you'll feel. The more you'll be willing to tackle daily tasks. So I get a lot of mine just from interacting with this guy right here.
I live off of caffeine. I live off of everything.
I think that is okay. So I think that's incredibly important.
He's trying to kick me out right now. Yeah, no, we're not done.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. David, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man.
I think that you letting me use your own home, your green screen equipment, giving me access to all this stuff. I think that this is incredible. I'd love to do another video
collaboration,
here.
Dude.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Like I said, we'll put a couple of his videos up on screen. We'll put 4 or 5 videos. Let's put all of them up. Let's just put all his videos up on screen. His Instagram vlogs too. All that.
That's all.
Fuck this list, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for your time. Obviously, subscribe, like, dislike, all this stuff, and let's get this experience. This community and experience. You get the experience from being part of a community. Let's build this community of young, introverted, young professionals all across the world. Fuck the introvert. Scratch off the introverted.
Check out the
just
Mech
all
Nation.
young professionals across the world. Let's all bring everybody together and let's change the world for the better. So once again, thank you guys so much for your time. David, thank you so much for your time. I wish you guys a beautiful night, morning, afternoon, whatever you're at, wherever you're at, Africa, India, Mexico, USA, wherever. Once again, have a great day.
And pick up a fucking book.